There's nothing quite like a good, powerful testimony. When God has done something for you and it's so good until you can't keep it to yourself, that is such a great way to attract people to follow Christ. And I love that because sometimes people talk about negative things or they gossip and they do all of that stuff. Well, God has done so much for us until we can just consistently tell of his goodness and testify everywhere that we go. So let's keep that in mind as we go through the tough times. I look at it like this: every struggle that I go through is just another opportunity. It's setting me up for my next testimony. So we always want to be talking about the goodness of the Lord. As always, I'm so happy to be here for the Sanctuary Sunday School. As I said a few weeks ago, I'm going to switch up my format a little bit. I'll be delivering the lessons from my home office, kind of sitting here in my chair with my tea, and my Bible. I will do more studio work, but those will be more presentations, educational pieces, and also I have the courses. So you've got to go to the Sanctuary Academy website and take one of the courses. I am so excited about that and being able to present that to you. So go there. There's 6 courses. There's 5 courses that are 6 weeks long. And then there's also the Virtual Ministry Summit. So go take a course, click around, give me feedback, and I'm so excited about that. This week's subject is Call to Testify. And this is the famous story of the woman at the well. And Jesus was there and she was from Samaria. Now that was a thing right there because the Jews and the Samaritans didn't have any dealings. So she was there and he really wasn't supposed to talk to her, but he did. And before our lesson actually starts, he asked her for some water. He was there at the well. First, he was there at the well, and he had nothing to draw with. So she was there. He asked her for water, and she kind of questioned him a little bit. And then he told her about this living water. And I love the way that Jesus presented himself, because a few weeks ago in one of our lessons, we talked about Jesus saying he was the bread of life. And now he is the living water. So if he's the bread of life, and he's the living water, you have everything that you could ever imagine right there in Jesus. So he said that he was the living water and that he could give her water where she would never thirst again. And then he began to tell her about herself. He asked her where was her husband, and she said she didn't have one. And he told her, you said right, because you've had 5 and the one that you have now is not yours. And when we look at this, the intent here with that statement was to let her know his power. Sometimes people use it in a way where it was a put down. It was more of a showing her who he really was. And I love the spirit of this woman because instead of her being offended and not wanting to hear it, which is the reaction that we get to the gospel a lot, she stopped and she paid attention and she realized that there was something to this man. And I love it here. And it says the woman, she told him, I know the Messiah is coming, which is called the Christ. And when he comes, he's going to tell us all things. And Jesus told her, Jesus said unto her that I that speak unto thee am he. I am the Messiah. And it says she dropped her water pot and went running to tell everybody about a man named Jesus. And just this verse, it brings me joy because it reminds me of the impact of meeting Jesus when he comes into your life, when he changes your life, when he gives you hope. See, when Jesus was talking to this woman and he talked about everything that she had done, obviously this was not something that she was pleased with, and there was not a peace and contentment. When he told her that he was the Messiah and that he was able to give her water, it gave her hope, and it gave her the understanding that she could change and that she could be saved and that she didn't have to go back the way that she came. And that is something when you go and you come before the Lord and you realize that the sin that I was living, I don't have to live that way anymore. The lies I don't have to lie anymore. I don't have to cheat anymore because I have hope in Jesus. And My belief and my faith in Jesus will provide me with everything that I need. And that's what he gave this woman. He gave her everything that she needed. And she said, come, see a man which told me all the things that I ever did. Is not this the Christ? And they came in, and they had been living in expectation of the Messiah coming. And when he got there, they didn't really recognize him readily, so he had to tell them. But I noticed something about this lesson, because as we've been studying through Jesus and him telling people that he was the Messiah, I'm noticing how when he revealed himself to his own people, there was resistance. There was challenges, telling him you can't verify your own. Who are you to bear witness of yourself? There was doubt, right? There was challenges. But the Samaritan, this woman who the Jews were supposed to be better than them, she was not a saved woman, but she readily accepted the message of Jesus Christ and the fact that he was the Messiah. Isn't that how it is today? Sometimes the most religious people give us the hardest time and don't want to receive the gospel. And you go and you preach to somebody who is considered to be not that high class or whatever it is that we're looking for, to readily receive the word. There is a hunger there. So then we see that his disciples were there, and they were surprised that he was talking to her, because again, they really weren't supposed to talk to the Samaritans like that. And then he began to talk to them, and then says they were concerned and they wanted to make sure that Jesus ate. And he told them, he said, my meat is to do the will of my Father and to finish his work. That is a powerful lesson for us, because sometimes we get distracted from the work of the Lord by our own natural necessities, what we need, the day-to-day, the things that we need in our homes and our families, trying to eat. And this example here is Jesus saying, my natural needs can wait. Right now, I'm about my Father's business. And he knew that these people were going to come, and she went away and she brought these people back to see him. And at the end of this lesson, they told him, they said, okay, we came because you told us about this man, but now we're not believing in him because of what you told us. We believe because we have seen him for ourselves. Have you had an experience with Jesus for yourself? See, I grew up in church, and my dad is a preacher and my mom was a missionary, and they would preach to me and they would tell me, and I kind of believed what they said, But when I got a chance to experience Jesus for myself, I felt just like this woman. I think I said this last week. I was just going to be saved and not say nothing. But here I am on this international internet thing, spreading the gospel, because I just can't keep it to myself. I want to tell everybody about a man named Jesus, the man who knows all about me. He knows what I've done, and he's not holding it against me. He forgave me for it, and he gave me new life. That's who Jesus is. We all have a testimony, and we all are called to testify. We want to be found telling people about the goodness of Jesus. It's not always necessary to tell you about my education and what I know and what I've done. I want to tell you about Jesus. One time I was kidding around. Sometimes I can be a little silly. And I was talking about how church people like to name drop. I know this bishop and I know this apostle, and we like to name drop. I said, okay, I'm going to name drop too. I know Jesus. How about that? And Jesus is truly the sweetest name that I know. In these times of uncertainty, isn't it good to have a blessed assurance in the name of Jesus, knowing who he is, knowing that he came to save us, having the understanding that this woman had, that he is the Christ, he is the Messiah, he is the Son of God. And we are called to testify. Go tell somebody, and I'm going to keep saying this. We are truly living in the last days. So make every word count and go tell somebody about a man named Jesus.